You were using drugs a lot and you were in the throes of addiction there. Do you think that's helped bring you together as a couple? You've got fame, which can be glorious and exciting, but the scrutiny and all eyes on you, how did you cope with that?
I was always an actor first. There's a lot of competition, there's a lot of respect. The fan base of Neighbours in that particular point in time enabled us, gave us the leverage to be more than just TV stroke actors. How do you measure success? What does it mean? You know, for someone that's overcoming cancer, someone that's coming here today and being in this room because they're anxious around people. Success is a really difficult thing to understand and measure.
Fame was the catalyst for that downward spiral mentally, or was there other stuff lurking around?
That's a big question.
We're so thrilled to have you at the Happy Place Festival. I know that you've had a very busy summer already. You were gigging last night.
I was in Shrewsbury. That was good. It's a long way back.
Yeah.
You know, it's about 3.5 hours back, but I was with my manager Sam, and we had chats along the way home. So, you know, it's good to spend time with people I love, and you know, happy to be here today. You know, yeah,
we're very happy
to be here, and it's quite close to home for me, which is great.
Short little commute home.
Yes.
Love that.
Yeah, lovely.
How's your voice? Because like me, you've had voice issues over the years.
I have.
How's it going?
It's better. I had in 2017 a sort of a bit of a moment there where it's sort of muscle tension, and I think probably a little bit of overworking, particularly in my business. You know, with singing and acting. I was doing a show at the time which required me to do an American accent, and I was probably sort of pushing that too far. But yeah, I mean, with physio, I found steaming, I found mental, you know, trying to sort of align myself and calm myself down a little bit. Although I'm still working just as hard.
Yeah, you've not learned a lesson.
No, I haven't calmed down that much. So, but yeah, I think through adversity you have moments of opportunity to, you know, look at yourself and look at how you do things. And my family were incredibly supportive, and you know, I think my voice has been stronger than it's ever been.
That's so good.
Yeah, and I found actually, in a way, the working of that muscle has actually been more beneficial for me to keep moving forward. It's a bit like if you have a back issue. If you sit down the whole time, that tends to not be the best way forward. You've got to get up and go.
Was it sort of scary initially, thinking, oh God, I might not be able to sing again? Because you love it.
Well, the singing wasn't the problem. It was
more
speaking.
the speaking.
Yeah, it was really ironic that it was more my speaking. And I still have moments of it. You know, it's a muscle. A muscle. I mean, the voice is a muscle, and it's tiny. But it takes, you know, it takes a lot of pressure when you do what we do, and particularly with stage and projection. But yeah, 5-7 years of working with it and learning to speak in a different way. Even now, you know, it's interesting. But once you keep speaking, it's very difficult to explain. But I'm in good shape.
Well, I'm really glad to hear that.
Yeah.
And also, you're hitting the stage again later in the year here in the UK for the Rocky Horror Show.
I am.
Feeling good about that?
I feel very good about that. I feel I've been in Australia for about 18 months on and off, which has been lovely. I love that part. I'm enjoying the fact that it is an hour and a half on stage, not 2 hours. I'm enjoying. I did it in 1998, so to revisit a role once again that requires a strong character and singing that I really enjoy. I mean, a lot of my career, I suppose, particularly coming from Joseph, was very much sort of this blue-eyed, blonde-haired, you know, Peter Pan sort of character. Rocky enabled me to be a sort of a bit of a rock star, which I really, in a way, am.
Yes, you are.
I was never setting out to be a classic sort of pop star. I never really set out to be in music. It sort of found me. But by playing that character, it can sort of release that, that rock star
the inner
element.
rock star.
It definitely, 100%.
I mean, you've got
100%.
a lot of history with the show. As you said, you were in the show in the 90s. You met your wife through the Rocky
I
Horror
did.
Show, Ange?
Yeah, she was a stage manager, and we are together, 25, 27 years on.
It's amazing. What do you think makes you guys compatible? Because long marriages are rarer the longer the older we get.
The older we get, yeah. What makes a long marriage compatible and what makes it work? A respect.
Yeah.
And I think, children bring people together and probably push people apart in a way. She's my best friend is probably the best way to describe it. But I do respect Ange, and I'm scared shitless of her sometimes too. And I think that's the honest truth.
Good thing, yeah.
She's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, the irony is she plays football and I'm the one that walks around in high heels and sings pop songs. She's the one that changes the, when the car breaks down, she's out there changing the wheel and, I'm doing the gardening and picking the flowers. That's the truth.
It. And a healthy dose of fear is no bad thing.
A healthy dose of...
Do you know what I mean?
heard Dustin Hoffman say that once on Parkinson. He actually said, what is the secret to the success of your marriage? And he said, I'm scared shitless of her.
It's a good thing.
Truth. It is the good thing.
Good on Ange. I mean, you guys have been through a hell of a lot together as well. And when you met, you were going through a difficult period. You were using drugs a lot and you were in the throes of addiction there. Do you think that's helped bring you together, knowing that you experienced that as a couple?
Yeah, I think so. I think the birth of a child changes a lot of things, and for me, I mean, particularly if you're involved in a self-destructive way in which I was, for whatever reason I got to that point because, success landed on my doorstep very young. And how do you process that? In today's day and age, that would come under the banner of mental health, But in those days, you just had to sink or swim. But I guess what changed was I saw an opportunity to change. I've always kept fit. Physical fitness, mental health, I think go hand in hand. And timing in life is everything, I don't believe in luck. I think you create luck in a way. It's certain luck does land in on people's doorstep for whatever reason, but timing in life and how you create those moments is really the key to further development. And it was just time to change for me. And the story was boring. I was talking about myself all the time, and it was very selfish. But the good news is I now know what I don't want to do. Yeah,
it's so important.
But as a team, yes, Ange and I, Gemma got born in 2000, and that was a real turning point for me, because I couldn't be half a parent, lost in this sort of world, self-destructive world. So, but the irony is, I love a drink now. I don't obviously. I mean, that has, Jesus. I mean, that's a glass of wine. It's easy to sort of just lose yourself in a bottle of rosé sometimes.
Correct.
So life for all of us, no matter how old we are, how young we are, is full of these. Temptations.
Yeah, without a doubt. But like you said, in the 90s, no one was talking about mental health. That was not a thing. And especially in the industry that you were working in at the time, that wasn't a thing. That your record label or production who you're working for would check in and say, how are you doing, or even sensing that you weren't okay. Do you think fame was the catalyst for that downward spiral mentally, or was there other stuff lurking around?
That's a big question. That's a big question. I don't know the answer to that question. I think, again, how do you process, what happened to me, at a very sort of young age? And I think from my perspective, as I sort of touched on there, I was very conscious of taking advantage of the road that was sort of set out for me, but was it the road that I wanted to be? So I tried to ruin my image a little bit. Unfortunately, I never drank until I was in my 30s, and this is not unnew to people that have read my story. I love to, have a joint, and I much preferred people that were stoned rather than people that were pissed. And particularly if I was famous, I'd prefer to walk into a room of people, stoned than drunk. Yeah. Sorry, it's just a no-brainer.
Just kind of not really there and not paying attention to anything.
And my dad, who I adore and love, Dad loves a drink and still does, and he's not an alcoholic by any way, shape, or means. But he's one of those people that can sometimes, you see a certain side of Dad, and I didn't like that. So I've always said this, and I think I'm right, that I think drugs, soft drugs, can lead to other usage, and some people would argue against that. I'm pretty adamant that it leads you to open a door to temptation. But I mean, that's my opinion about.
Did that feel at the time like a coping mechanism to deal with what you were dealing with work-wise? Was it in a sense of escapism?
Escapism, yeah. Not really cope. I think an escapism, yeah.
And so what does balance mean to you now? Because like you say, you like a drink, but it's not problematic.
No.
So what is balance to you? What does that mean?
Well, I was thinking about, when I came here, and I'm sorry my back's towards you people, lovely people, that are catching the sun on the left-hand side.
Out there.
I love that. Oh, I should be sort of further around this way, shouldn't I? I'm very conscious of my audience here.
They're enjoying the back of your head, actually.
Yeah. What balance? I was thinking about what is happiness. Probably is sort of. I mean, it's balance to me is time with my family. My work is extremely important. I would like to relax a lot more. I can't find that balance just yet. Balance is dinner with friends. Sunday lunch. Bottle of rosé, the beach, the sea, swimming. I'm so into my water. I'm really happy when I'm in water. I sometimes have about 3 showers a day, 4 showers a day.
Are you into cold water?
I'm not a clean freak. I just love water.
Yeah. Do you like cold water swimming? Or?
Cold water swimming I love. I love hot water swimming. I love
warm water swimming.
I love to be able to swim in that lake if I could.
Get in there at the end. That'd be quite an ending for us.
As long as it's not got any E. coli in it, I'd be very happy. Which seems to be a very topical thing in this country at the moment. What else about balance for me? I love to pick flowers. I'm obsessed by flowers.
We can see you sporting one today.
And I'm sorry, my flower. This is sort of. This costume today, I was going to wear. Well, no, I said, I'm going on stage.
Your stage clothes.
I'm starting to warm up a bit now. So I thought I'd wear white today, and I'm very conscious that white tight jeans have sort of gone out of fashion a little bit. And I was thinking Elizabeth Hurley at the time, I don't know why. But I'm not Elizabeth Hurley's in or out of fashion. I mean, I'm just saying.
Queen forever.
It's just she loves her white
jeans.
Her white jeans.
White jeans.
And I put them on before I came and thought, shit, I've done that look so much. But I have the
these are fantastic.
Ones. So I put these on, and I felt
Incredible.
like sort of Harry Styles.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I felt a little more Harry.
It's working. It's
and
really
then
working.
I went downstairs to Gemma and her boyfriend Owen. I said, white. She's like, oh, what did Gemma say to me? She's like, very, very block colours, Dad. And I went, oh, shit, okay. I thought, I'm not going to sweat and change. But then they said, no, wear that. And they said, maybe a little bit of red because England's playing tonight. Do you know what I mean? So I went next door, don't tell my neighbour. Chopped a little rose off the front of the tree. Rosemary's lovely. But she wouldn't be happy that I chopped the rose off the top of her tree.
She was saving that for a vase.
Rosemary's like 90, 98, this woman. She's incredible, incredible. Anyway, she wasn't there, chopped it off. Didn't drive too far, which is the wonderful thing apart from seeing all your faces today. It's a very close gig for me. You, of course, and the flower started to, look, wilt.
A karma.
But I think it's a nice... It's just a nice
It's a nice nod.
Yeah, it's a nice nod.
We like it. It's a great outfit. It's a great look. I think this is the new thing for you.
Yeah.
Go with it.
No socks.
No socks.
You know, so,
sweating beyond belief, but going with
sweating. A man of a certain age, actually.
We're all sweating. We're all in this together. It's all fine.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, talking of
God.
family,
yes.
Your daughter Gemma is now doing all sorts of amazing acting jobs. Have you had conversations where you've warned her of the pitfalls or you've been nervous to let her walk that path?
I think, Fearne, with your kids, there is no manual, but good parenting should come naturally, and, well, not naturally, it should be a result of how you've been brought up, and the bottom underlying thing is love. I think the most difficult thing when a child is at school, they're managed. When they leave school, it's about their dreams, and how do you make their dreams and passions sort of come true? I, as a kid, was always told to follow my passions. My dad is an actor, and it was never a matter of, you should do this or do that just because acting or singing or entertainment wasn't a sort of fit for a certain generation. She works hard. She's been, she's done Neighbours, she did Hollyoaks. I think it's just about being true to herself, and I don't think there's much more to it than that.
Has she come to you for advice?
No, because, well, she does, but I find as an actor, particularly with a parent, you can't really work together because it's destructive, and she will say, Dad, I don't want to do it that way, and then she'll say, how do I look in this? I'm not worried about the way you look, is it the way you're acting? Or then she'll talk about, anyway, there's a big conflict there, but I've always got her back, and yes, I am always trying to steer her in the right direction, but it is about her passion, and, I'm a believer also as a performer. You should be as versatile as you can. A lot of actors want to be singers. A lot of singers want to be actors. I managed to combine the two. I mean, I didn't set out to be in musical theatre. It found me. But it's been good to me. So I think there's always a plan B, though. One should always have a plan B, I think, too.
I think so. I mean, it's an interesting balance to get, isn't it? Saying to your kids, or even to yourself, have that goal, go for it, but maybe just think about other options to be sensible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no secret that I was a massive fan of yours growing up, and I've told you this before. I'll spill the facts. First of all, my first gig ever, Jason Donovan, Wembley Arena.
Class.
First gig. Me and Becky Curry had the night of our lives. It was, what would that have been like?
Becky Curry?
Becky Curry, still one of my best mates today.
Oh, still my floppy flower.
It was, your floppy flower. It was an incredible moment. But going back even further to Neighbours, it was obviously we had like 4 TV channels back in the day in the UK. So everybody watched Neighbours. It was an event. You would never miss it. I remember where I was to the point where I even remember what I was wearing when I watched Scott and Charlene's wedding. I was lying in my mum and dad's bed and they had this miniature TV. And it was like the best thing that had ever happened in my life at that point. It was such a moment.
I can tell it's had an impact. Fearne.
I know. I've not let go.
Fearne looks at me at the school gates and it's just like, got one eye on me and one eye on her husband, I can tell.
Jason,
we
gonna go
share the same school, funnily enough.
I know, we're on the same
together,
school run.
Anyway,
this is the funny
white
thing.
Owl. The
like,
white owl.
This is the funny thing is I, as a kid, like all I wanted was to meet Jason Donovan, and I now see him doing the school run.
Yeah.
I've manifested it, guys. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Made it happen. Thank you, Gabby Bernstein. But that level of fame back then, it was different to fame today. Everybody's famous today. There's, you know, people can become famous on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. But you were a small club back in the 80s and 90s where everybody was watching your every move. Everybody was scrutinising you and interested in what you were doing. Because that sits almost sort of adjacent to fame. You've got fame, which can be glorious and exciting, but the scrutiny and all eyes on you, how did you cope with that bit of it?
Well, I mean, look, I think as an actor it is a little different in a way because when I met, you know, I became a pop star in the late sort of 80s, but I was always an actor first, and as actors you have to work with a large demographic of age groups and people, you know. There's a lot of competition, there's a lot of respect, there's, you know, you have to work with kids, you have to work with, you know, people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and sometimes 90s. And the dynamic of dialogue and understanding emotions, you know, I'm an interpreter of emotions, really, as an actor, really sort of sets you up to be quite grounded in a way. I mean, some actors aren't always grounded, but I've watched my dad, you know, have jobs and then not have jobs. Most actors are out of work most of the time. I think the difference with becoming a musician is that you create your own characters, you know, in a way, and that can be successful or unsuccessful. For me, I seem to just touch a bit of gold going from one thing, but the fan base of Neighbours in that particular point in time enabled us, gave us the leverage to be more than just TV stroke actors or soap or television stars. How did I cope with it? Pretty well up until the finish of Joseph, when I think I'd worked my arse off and I needed a break. And I think, you know, again, as I just said, I rebelled against the character I'd sort of created in a way. Was it manufactured? No, it wasn't manufactured because it was me. I was intelligent enough to realise that this was a moment that I needed to capitalise on because it probably wouldn't have come around again. I was trying to reinvent myself, but I couldn't, in a way, and I was a bit stuck. Also, I had a court case with the Face magazine, which was quite controversial at the time. You know, and I was a Melbourne boy that loved to go surfing and smoke weed, really. You know, I'm sorry, that's the truth. I know it's pretty harsh.
We love you for your...
It's the absolute truth. And I think that's the one thing I think when I think that even us talking now, you know, I'm so conscious of sound bites and people will take things that I say and next week it'll be in the Daily Mail and, oh my God, have I said the right thing? Oh shit, have I offended my daughter or my da-da-da? I come from a place now where I've sort of said it all and done it all, that I can really stand by myself and go, I know my boundaries and I know that I'm a decent person and I know I've fucked up a bit along the way, but what human being doesn't, you know? So, yeah.
It's important.
Success, but fame's a big one, Fearne.
Yeah.
Fame is a big one. it's a big one. And success, how do you measure success? What does it mean? You know, for someone that's overcoming cancer, someone that's coming here today and being in this room because they're anxious around people. Some people, it's scoring, 5 number 1 hits in a year and I didn't get the 6, you know. It's success is a really difficult thing to understand and measure. Happiness is, you're only as happy as your most unhappy child.
Yes.
I found that one recently.
It's a tricky one to
It's a tricky one,
accept.
mate. It's a tricky one. Balance in life. But I keep coming back to one thing, a physical fitness for me, always. Always.
Yeah, moving. It's extremely important.
It's so important.
It is.
It's for your brain and for everything. It's got me through all the shit that I've had in my life,
Yeah, we've got all sorts
of great moments,
And what?
And some fucking fantastic moments.
Yeah.
Sorry, can I swear in this?
Well, it's a bit late now.
I don't know. Shit. I don't know even now. I don't really. I've got this filter.
No, we're
where
fine with swearing.
If I go on telly, I never ever swear. If I go on radio, I never swear.
No, Jason, be free.
Okay.
Be free.
Okay.
There are no rules around here.
I'm relaxing.
There are no boundaries, no rules. We do as we please. Now, this is, again, perhaps a big question, but looking back at all those eras of your life and morphing into different iterations of yourself, which we all do, would you say today you're happy in your skin and you like yourself?
I haven't really thought about that today. I'm always finding something because I'm a very ambitious person still at 56. Not because I want to, conquer the world in my business, but just because there's a lot of things I enjoy and I want to keep enjoying those things, and that requires work. And I guess, I could take a back seat. I mean, Ange would always say to me, you're never going to take a back seat. Am I happy? What was the question again?
Do you like yourself?
Do I like myself?
Yeah.
I do like myself, yeah. I think I'm reasonably balanced, got a great family, I'm pretty honest. I am honest. I have a tug of war with, maybe enjoying myself sometimes too much and keeping focused and, but, I'm content. I'm pretty balanced, pretty happy.
I think that's a really lovely thing that you allow yourself to enjoy things, because so often, especially when I'm imagining you at sort of like the peak of that Neighbours era, things must have moved so quickly that maybe you didn't enjoy it as much because you were just on to the next thing, on to the next thing. Is that true, do you think?
Well, I guess you're measuring that about work and professional life, because I've come to realise that and I've seen a lot of success around me, and money doesn't. There's only so many rooms in a house you can have, and if you don't have someone to share those rooms with, what's the point, really? So again, I come back to this thing of balance. It's funny, as we get older, we start to scale down a bit too. I'm at that stage in my life, probably. Some people are where you've had kids and you now build up, and you have to sort of shrink back down. That's another phase. The kids are getting older. I've still got Molly, who's a 13-year-old, so I'm trying to keep young in my mind for her. Also, I'm not the captain of my ship, but I'm a leader of my band. Do you know what I mean? The band has an equal say, but someone has to make the decisions sometimes, certain decisions, and again, Ange has, and my kids now have a voice in that. So it's balancing the board, as I'm sure you would happen in your world too.
Of course.
So that's another phase in my life. But I'm not really obsessed by trying to be the greatest this or the greatest actor or singer or, it's. I think one gift in my professional life is that performing is a drug in a way, and a lot of people who write songs or write scripts, obviously have an incredible talent, and I wish I was blessed with that opportunity to have written a great song or a great script. And maybe the future with that, I do my art still and stuff, that gives me a lot of pleasure. But the purpose of being able to go out and sing Any Dream Will Do, or to really is this God gift. It's insane. And nostalgia is massive at the moment. And the effect that those songs, particularly music, because music is magic. I think it's the closest human beings have to magic. It can put you in a time and a place like no other medium can. And to sing a song like Too Many Broken Hearts and see people's faces.
What a tune.
And I'm just like, that's why being a pop star matters sometimes. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Oh, me and Lucy Bartholomew made up a dance routine to that one.
Oh, jeez.
We were in the back garden.
We had a whole...
No. And even if I could, I wouldn't.
Oh, jeez.
But I agree with you. Music is so powerful. And I guess, actually, as you go through your career and you've experienced the pitfalls and the challenges, the joy has to come from the doing it bit, not the end result, not everyone cheering for you, not the money, whatever. It's got to be that you're in the moment, enjoying that connection with other people. It's so important.
It is important. It is important. I like to work hard. I mean, anyone that knows me says you work too hard. I mean, theatre. You talk about Rocky is a short show and a great show. But it's hard work, it's hard work. 7, 8 shows a week is relentless. It requires athleticism and discipline and focus. But the rewards are, insane. You get that applause, and that's addictive. That's hard to come off.
Is it?
It is, yeah. Well, when you've done a block of work like I do for 3 months, it's hard to come off, but sometimes it's great to see the finishing line,
And just have a bit of normalcy.
Yeah.
And do some normal picking some flowers.
I mean, although, as we were talking backstage, it takes a while to come down and relax. And sometimes my wife says, I can't wait for you to go back on tour.
Can't wait for that show to start again.
Oh, gosh.
Can't wait. But one thing, and you've just mentioned this, that I know does help you relax and makes you feel really good, is painting. I've got one of your paintings at home.
Yeah.
That's I love painting too. It's an amazing outlet. And it seems that is something that you want to keep for you. It's not necessarily, there's no huge ambition. This is for me because I love doing it.
Yeah, I was always sort of told my handwriting was pretty good. My grandmother was a great writer, a great letter writer, and also, her letters look fantastic, perfect. And I thought there was a way of combining writing into art because, let's face it, we don't, apart from your good self there,
very
do
old
much.
School.
It is very organised, by the way.
Yes,
Fearne
well, I'm a Virgo, aren't I? So I have my little nerdy notebook. Every podcast episode is written
there.
in the same way, and I can look back at it one day and go, oh, I used to be relevant and interview all these great people.
Yeah. Well, you could do a book.
I could do a book.
Yeah.
See, always thinking about work.
You're paving your pension.
But I love pen and paper. There's something.
Yes, there is.
There's something really therapeutic about it, but I think it helps you remember as well. It's like a good cognitive exercise.
Yeah. Mine came out of lockdown and thinking, right, I'm an actor, I'm a singer, and I can't. Theatres are shut. What the hell am I going to do? And also, we didn't know the future at that point. I have, a mortgage and I have kids, and yes, I'm lucky. I've got some great things in my life, but those things need to be sustained, or you need to take a real U-turn and try and find other ways of reinventing stuff that you've built up. to change that. So I thought art. Well, I just thought I'd now put it into practice a little bit more. Haven't been doing a lot recently because of my work, but it's something that's always there in the background for me, and it is therapeutic and cathartic, and I feel great when I've produced something that is, compact. It's a difficult one, though, because there's so many roads you can go when you paint. And you go, it's a blank sheet of paper. This is why I find writing songs and, even script ideas or a piece of art is like, okay, now I've got the opportunity. Where do I go? Or how far do I go? Am I going too far? Because sometimes if you write a song, you can overcomplicate it. You can think of Any Dream Will Do it's so simple.
Yeah.
Yet a lot of people would complicate that sentence up because they'd overthink it, That's why some shows don't work and some songs do work and some festivals work and some don't. And, it's finding the balance, again, in life and in what one does professionally. Am I making sense?
Oh, yeah. We're with you.
I'm warmed up now. Thank God for
Just
that.
as we're about to end, he's in the swing of things.
Yes.
There's this lovely feeling that I get when I'm painting where time doesn't exist, and I could be painting for hours and it feels like 5 minutes, and I won't even drink water. It's just, I'm so engrossed in it, and I feel really lucky that I love painting because I get that feeling, and nothing else quite allows me that level of liberation to not worry about the clock ticking or what I've got to do next. Do you get in that sort of, it's kind of a meditative state, I guess?
Yeah, I do. And I can't leave it. That's the problem. It becomes addictive until it's finished, know. And I love great pieces of art. I love art. I had a manager once, well, not once, Richard, who was with me in the late 80s and early 90s, he used to live next door to Francis Bacon. I couldn't believe that. That was like, wow, Anyway, Francis Bacon is a pretty impressive English painter.
Incredible painter.
Of incredible mind, quite disturbed. It was a muse house in South Kensington. So, yeah.
I love that.
Love that.
Well, if you haven't seen Jason's art, you must check it out. You've got an Instagram page dedicated to it, haven't you? So do go look. It's really, really gorgeous, really cool. You're so worried about your little flower, aren't you?
My floppy rose.
Your floppy rose.
Oh no!
It's just about holding out.
The problem is I didn't put 2 pins in because I think it would have. It's a bit like and then when it's and then it goes
It's working.
It's sort of working.
We love it. You've started a trend. We're all going to pin a little rose to our tops later.
Yes.
Jason, it's been so lovely talking to you today, and I'm so grateful. Well, I guess so.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful that you've come along to our lovely little festival. I hope that you've been feeling all the good vibes and the love. I've been walking around today, and so many other festival goers have come up to me and said, I can't wait for Jason Donovan. I can't bloody wait. I'm going to be there front row. So we're so glad that the gorgeous audience have turned up to watch this, and we're so grateful for you. Everybody, please give it up for Jason Donovan.
Thank you.
Jason.
That was all right.